restraining orders does the waitress have?
A lot, dude. I mean, she's been irritated with me. She's like, you got me fired from the Oldies Rock Cafe. You're gonna get me fired from the coffee shop.
This is incredible. You gotta listen to this message. Come here, seriously. This chick is so in love with me, it's crazy.
Hi, Dennis. It's Kaylee. I was just calling to let you know that I hope you die.
Super Flag Bros.
You are obviously a terrible person with no regard for anyone but yourself. I never, ever want to see you again, you steaming pile of horse shit. Go to hell!
Bro, that's amazing.
Division 6 Podcast.
Oh, guys, I have a system, a foolproof system for getting any chick's undying love and devotion for life.
With D's Delaries
And once we're on my bed, it is game over. I engage her physically and the sexual waltz begins.
and P's Delaries.
Smooth. Very, very smooth stuff. Very classy. I'm learning a lot from you right now, dude.
Okay, now, once you've had sex with the woman, she will naturally start to depend on you.
Welcome to Super Flag Bros. You do not need to adjust your computer, or if you're listening to the podcast, this will mean nothing to you. I am GM Colethras. Pease Delaries is not in the studio as of yet, so I am taking over. I don't even know if I'll give up the mic when he does get here.
You need to adjust your chair, man. You're way too high up. You're so high up.
Just gonna go down.
Yeah, you must say it.
How are
Yes, I'm good. Yourself?
you? I'm well. So,
How do I even follow you? Is there a way for me to follow you?
follow me in what sense?
I don't know. Twitter?
Oh, that's right. We have Twitters.
We do.
So, you are at Dave's Republic.
No, I'm not. I'm at Pretty Dancer and at hashtag Yellow Mustard Rules. Hashtag no rules.
Do you just disrespect Dijon Mustard? In any case,
Dijon Mustard, that's it.
I can be tweeted at GMKOLE44, and you can tweet Eagle at EagleFPF if you actually want your tweets read on the show. So with that, we divulge. Great first round of playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you thought about it.
What I thought was that I hate losing. I really,
Hey,
really,
me
really hate
too.
losing. What's up? So we know what it's like to like absolutely be terrible when we lose games. So like, how do you feel? Like, you know, not progressing. Like, what's your recipe, man?
At the end of the day, it comes down to those key plays. And an example of that, Mean Machine against Balls Deep, where Mean Machine took this game 36, Balls Deep 20, which was really, really interesting, I felt, considering Balls Deep have been very, very strong throughout the season.
Yeah.
Anthony Bistosha has been spreading the ball out really, really well. Jordan Allard is a top-tier talent, whether it's in Division 4 or outdoors as well. Mm-hmm. Tell me what you thought about this game.
Well, we spoke a little bit about it last week. Like, it's the kind of game that kind of foresaw like Balls Deep not really coming out with a victory, and it's nothing against them. It's just I felt like the matchup was really favorable for Mean Machine, and like and I think that having that kind of a quarterback, like, you know, it's always nice to have that kind of a quarterback in this kind of situation. Having Daniel Goloff there.
Yeah, okay, I was going to say that kind of quarterbacking Daniel Goloff.
So and that's what it is. I felt more like it was just kind of a poor matchup for Balls Deep from the get go. I know there was a lot. It's like you said, like there was a lot out of them that we saw of them throughout the season, but this just wasn't.
It really came down to those two interceptions that were really drive killers for Bistosha, and the final nail in the coffin. So, moving on, a game that came right down to the last play. It was super, super exciting to watch. Beast Mode, Sunbros. Tell me a little bit about it, with where, for the most part, Beast Mode started off strong. Sunbros had to follow suit. It came down to the last play. A little bit of interesting choice play calling when Sunbros came into the red zone and couldn't quite punch it in.
Right, and in a way, like it's really kind of like symbolic of the season that they've had. That it came down to, you know, it was a really good season that they had, and you know, like this to me is going to be really a confidence builder going forward in the playoffs. Well, I think in a sense for
you already don't like me because I'm asking you to elaborate your answers. He just lets it fly.
Yeah, no, he does. But I mean, essentially, like when I think about Beast Mode in a sense, like for this specific game, you know, it's a tough matchup. They probably expect it to be a pretty tough matchup as well. But you know, like they do have some really core players in their team. Like having a guy like Mark Lapointe on the team is essential for them going forward. And I feel like this can be a confidence builder for them. playing a really tough game against a tough opponent going forward is always going to be very helpful for them. Because next game, we have beast mode against part of my swag, which we're going to talk about soon. So anyway, like my point being that I feel like this is the kind of confidence that they need going forward, and this is the kind of victory that they need. And obviously, they had to win it, or else it's a one game kind of series. But yeah.
Next game up on the docket: Wax On, Wax Off 24, Diablos 13. Jordan Belmar, I think, had one of the better games of his career in this playoff, going 18 for 31, 4 TDs, 1 INT, and Francois Martin just really couldn't punch it in.
And this is a team that we've been waiting to see for Wax On, Wax Off. Ending the kind of season in a weird fashion. They kind of gave up a lot of losses going towards the end of the season, and we were talking recently, like I think last week or the week before, me and Peas, and we were saying that accumulating losses like this before the playoff starts is always it creates a bad omen for your team. But in this sense, they were able to prevail, and with a very, very touch matchup as well. Diablos are not an easy team to play against. But what's important here is that the players that they needed to show up would show up, and having Danny Demore on your offense and having him on your defense is important. And like towards the end of the season, we didn't see. We saw progression from him. He wasn't at his healthiest state. He had sustained some injuries, but in this situation for Wax On, Wax Off, their players basically culminating, coming together, and creating a tough statement game. I would say that's really. Am I putting you to sleep?
No, not at all.
No, you're good.
I love it.
I'm putting myself to sleep.
Well, that's totally fine. That's why we have the Red Bull here as well. We can just pick it up at need be. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing.
No,
considering
not a good thing.
Mixing caffeine and Duke together.
Do you drink Red Bull before a game or no?
No, not before a game. I get too jittery.
Okay.
Not a way anyone really wants to lose. We still have to talk about it as well. Pardon My Swag win 30-0 over the Tigers, who actually beat them in the game itself, but fielded an ineligible player and thus forfeit their win and do not get to move on. This
is insane. Like I didn't really expect this to happen in a sense, but maybe we should have all kind of been. What's good to know is that this was found right away. It's not a couple of weeks later. This is something that happened to my team when we had lost a couple of seasons ago. Yeah, we didn't know that there was an ineligible player.
Checkmate overthroners.
Right. We had no idea, and but anyway,
found out now.
But it's never really about that. Like in this sense, like it's tough. But the good news is for part of my swag is it's a second life, a second win. And I was discussing this with Eagle before. We have to be the most progressive league in the world, and anyone listening, anyone part of the league, you should feel pride in our league because of the fact that we're able to overthrow, like to change the results of games, because any other league would never do this.
What we were saying, imagine Deflategate if it was a legit thing.
Legit, yeah.
Done?
Right. And for us, what we do, we'd be like, listen, we're the superior moral league in the world.
We have the disciplinary committee who sit down, they look at it objectively. It's a mix of officials, top tier players, lower tier players. It's volunteer based. It's not people who are affiliated with the league administration itself. So that's always really, really refreshing.
Are you saying
to see.
that you want to execute the player?
Correct.
You said that you wanted to execute it. That's what I heard. You? No, I didn't. Okay.
And this rule is actually in the rule book. Like, it's formally written.
Execution.
If you do not have the set number of games played throughout the season, you cannot play in the playoff game. If you do, you forfeit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know, just I don't want to go too much into this, but is there a history of this? Has this happened before in the FPF?
I don't think so.
No, we've actually had playoff games defaulted though, where a team couldn't field the roster in the quarterfinals.
Right. No, that I do remember. But it's crazy to think that this might be the first time in FPF history. Really, we're just changing the world. We're changing, laws. Like this is the future FPF. Anyway, going forward.
Yeah, going forward, kind of on the same topic as a default, but not when you look at it at first glance. LA's Finest win 32-0 over Mountain Goats.
I think Peace chose Mountain Goats for this game. I think that's actually what he chose.
Mountain Goats, woo!
But he was very biased.
He was obviously right. Moving like Mountain Goats were on such a high. We're able to finish the season with a tie. We're up and down, but snuck into the playoffs. really looked poised to do some damage, and then fall short 32-0. We know LA's Finest are really, really strong.
Right.
How do Mountain Goats move on from this? Do you see them coming back in Division E?
Definitely, this is definitely a team that we see a lot of progression with. Going in, we were very skeptical about them because they don't have the football bodies that we see experienced beer belly kind of dudes that play with
Facial
beards,
hair.
facial hair, a couple of scars. These are young kids, fresh meat, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see them succeed. It's nice to see a team like that succeed because we don't often see that. So in a way, what's important now is to kind of build forward. The summer's going to start, so it's time to get some practice in. Perfect opportunity for these guys to pull out the bench press, add a couple of pounds, 10, 15 pounds, get a little bit more aggressive. I think that next time they might have they might have the edge on LA's Finest if they can bulk up a bit, get those glutes going. You know what I'm saying?
Next up, Wolfpack. Did you see it being this close? Wolfpack really going neck to neck with Jean-Guy, or did you see it being more of an exciting game?
No, we saw it as being a neck and neck game because they're both very good defensive teams and. No, it's really we saw this kind of happening that it would be a tight game. That's yours. Yeah, that Red Bull's yours.
Continue.
Yes, but no, in this situation, it's tough for Jean-Guy because I feel like when they get into the playoffs, this is kind of the outcome that they always end up facing a team that's a little bit more experienced, a team that's able to come in and kind of put the clinch on them defensively. Christopher Chautran is a good quarterback, a lot to improve on, but in this kind of situation, playing a team like Wolfpack, it's really hard to pull out a win in such a short game when a team knows how to stifle your team. And once again, nothing taken away from Jean-Guy, but
Wolfpack we're definitely the better team.
Right. But we saw that coming into the game. That would be kind of
And for the last game on the docket, the closest game of all the games that were played in Division 6 playoffs, Flagrant Fouls, the undefeated team, almost losing and coming out with a tight win, 25-20 over Pocket Watch. And to recap this, I will invite Peace to come on over because he knows one of the reasons why there was a loss in place, and I'm going to distance myself.
Not because he's actually the showrunner.
The details are irrelevant.
He brought sushi.
Welcome everyone. You are listening to Super Flag Bros, and the show is ready to start now that I'm here. That being said, Deez,
What's up, man? What's up?
How's it going? Nice haircut.
Good, thanks.
You look better than Mo Khan.
It's too expensive for my taste, but hey, listen.
Is your girl happy?
That's what's important.
That's all that matters. We were almost happy in this game.
Broke. I'm gonna cry.
We being Pocket Watch. The game was actually fairly close. We took the lead into half, and then
I see 3 touchdowns from you.
Absolutely.
Without
No interceptions.
No interceptions.
That's the
So this is basically your Tom Brady moment.
Well, no, you would have won.
So wait. What's the opposite of Tom Brady? A quarterback that those.
Eli Manning.
No,
he
he
has
also
2
wins.
Super Bowls. Peyton Manning. This is your Peyton Manning.
No.
But he has
He has Super Bowl. You're thinking Matt Ryan.
Who is it? Matt Ryan. This is
Matt
definitely
Ryan.
a Matt Ryan game where the whole season you say, listen, look, but this is really the situation because with the Atlanta Falcons, they come into the season, not doing very well, and then it's always the quarterback's fault. But then going into the playoffs, it's a great game, and the rest of the team just fails. So I'm blaming you and you. You both sucked, but it's not your fault. You're injured. I'm sorry.
No, and I mean, obviously,
That's so bad. I feel
GM's injury was a big impact. He was our leading receiver for the entire season.
I feel bad. I'm sorry.
It was a close game. Honestly, what we wanted to do, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. We executed our game plan. We'll talk about that when we recap Flagrant Fouls next game, because there is a way to beat Flagrant Fouls. We executed as close as possible to the best of our abilities. We had 4 downs inside the red zone early in the game. That could have turned the tide. It
How come you
didn't.
didn't run enough, man? This year,
Have you seen me run?
I've seen you run, and you have a lot more yards than most quarterbacks in this league.
Only because I run way too often because I can't throw.
But no one expects it. No one expects it. You're very elusive.
That's true. A game that we did expect to go this way, though. Obamacare winning 38-13 over NWO. The new world order is Obamacare. They take it. Jordan McKinnis throwing 5 touchdowns without his BFF.
Yeah.
So it shows that it was more than just a one-man show. Morini catches 2, McGeegan catches 2, and Mike Ambrose catches 1. Are Obamacare more dangerous now without having the go-to target? Now that we see that all their weapons are available.
Well, we kind of spotted on this last week. We spoke a little bit about it, how
But we now
Obamacare-
see it in effect in the playoffs.
Right, no, and that's the thing, and that's what we were saying, like that. They're the kind of team that can survive the lack of a presence of that main receiver. However, they do have pretty solid backup options, I think, and they're a very big, solid team, and they've been my favorite throughout the season. And this is why, and I think this kind of shows exactly who they are. And it's like you said, you should fear them a little bit more now that you see that they can operate the same offense, if anything better. Without a top tier talent on the offense.
Absolutely.
You like that analytics right there?
The analytics are pretty good. If I was Charles Barkley, I would get angry for no apparent reason. That being said, I expect a little more fight from NWO in this game. Did you expect? I don't remember what your pick was exactly. Did you expect
it was going to be a blowout? I think.
Yeah,
I don't think we really talked too much about what the outcome would be, but we knew that this was kind of the road it was going to head into.
But I think this is good for NWO anyway, because the first time they made the playoffs, they see what it's like. Most teams will lose.
They made it last year. Yeah.
Oh, the second time they made the playoffs. They continue to grow strong. We'll get strong as I get back on track once we get back from break. Until then, remember.
Send all your hate mail to Peas at what? Peas FPF?
At Peas FPF or at Botox injection.
Calling the Audible has been brought to you by the English Montreal School Board's DEAL program. Distance education for all learners will allow you to obtain your high school diploma or prerequisites for CEGEP or vocational studies from the comfort of your own home. It's never too late to go back to school. Learn anywhere at your own pace and get your diploma. Call 514-788-5937 for information or visit www.distanted.ca for more details.
Welcome back, everyone. You are still listening to and perhaps watching Super Flag Bros. I am Peas Delarice. I've returned to usurp my usurp Jim Clethris from my rightful place on the throne. The throne, of course, being this chair and not the toilet bowl, which is where he is at right now. I am also joined in studio with Deez Delarice. You can follow him at
Pickles Are For Real. Hashtag don't put in your mouth in public.
Pickles are in fact for real. I saw a documentary about that. I can be followed, of course, at Peas Delarice. If you're watching,
You're pretty good follow.
If you're watching, of course, you know that you're watching at www.theunclemikeshow.com at Coast to Coast Studios, our new wonderful home, and wherever Mokan says it is. Doing the wonderful work that he always does at production is the Eagle at Master Control, who asked the woman to marry him earlier this week. Didn't work out too well.
Was that for real? That is the greatest prank I've ever heard in my life.
It did not happen.
But
For the
here's
record.
the funny thing. She's from Austria, so they don't have April Fools.
Yes.
So she didn't know it was an actual April Fools.
So as an April Fool's prank, we told a girl that Eagle was proposing to her later that day, and she, of course, was very angry. So,
listen, man.
Of course.
Sorry, go
But
ahead.
between LA's Finest and Obamacare, who do you think will end this game angry?
Wow, that's
awkward transition.
I don't even know how to get to where I need to be. What I need to say is, firstly, Eagle, that's the bravest thing you've ever done, and you never did it.
I didn't do it.
That's the bravest thing you've never done, Eagle.
Yeah. So, but I still have respect for you. So you're asking me about Obamacare and LA's Finest. They did match up once upon a time this season.
They did, and LA's Finest took it 36-6. Theo Bachellis, that's the period where he took over at quarterback, 6 touchdowns in that game. Jordan McKinnis throwing 4 interceptions with a deceptively quick LA's Finest defense on the other end.
Times are different, man.
Times are changing?
Times are changing. I don't see this being a repeat performance. I think that one matchup is enough for Obamacare to understand. But the thing that's scary about this matchup specifically, what's scary about it is that I feel like Obamacare was able to withstand NWO in the first round of the playoffs, but going forward, not having a big time player is going to harm them in this sense, because this week we saw something pretty crazy out of LA's Finest. Like they just dismantled Mountain Goats. Andrew Grant, multiple touchdowns. As a receiver,
Andrew Grant is a guy that we haven't talked that much about this season, but he's a fantastic receiver. Yes, but
in this situation, he's a wide receiver.
He's played some quarterback, but he comes in like some. Let's call them packages. Let's pretend that they have some sort of play calls.
Are we talking about people's packages?
Absolutely.
I love it.
We're talking about the entire team's packages, and in one specific package, they bring in the Grant, and he does what he can from that position.
And he
did
an excellent job. So, but in this situation, like, it's gonna be, and I'm gonna go watch this game for sure. I'm gonna be there. I definitely have to see this game in person. And in a sense, like, it's because I think that this is kind of the elite matchup in Division 6. Like, I think that what's going to really propel it forward is Jordan McKinnis has changed a lot since the beginning of the season, and I think that in this situation, like we were just talking about, what's scary about them is that they were able to operate their offense without a big target. And what I want to see is what LA's Finest is prepared to put on the table against this kind of an opposition.
Absolutely, that makes a lot of sense.
Does it? Does it make a lot of sense?
No, it does.
Tell me.
I think I'm of the belief that a team that has multiple weapons is always more dangerous than a team that's got one weapon.
Right.
So if you can come at me with a chainsaw and an axe, I'm more terrified than if you come at me with one of those things.
But it's like one team has a chainsaw and an axe, and another one has like a lawnmower and a broken beer bottle, and they're just ready to fight. And I'm just saying
that's true.
And I think I don't even know.
I don't trust the guy in the fight who's got a lawnmower because you don't know what he's gonna do with that.
He's got a broken bottle too. Don't forget.
Yeah, well, honestly, I'm paying attention to this lawnmower now. It's got my attention. It's got my attention.
Crazy beats strong.
Crazy does beat strong, and in my prediction this game, Crazy will beat strong. LA's Finest will beat Obamacare.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be as big a gap, but I think maybe Obamacare scores one more time. I say a sort of a 35 to 13-ish, 34-13, around that area.
It kind of also makes a great game because when you just it works a sentence as well, like LA's Finest Obamacare.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I know, like
it's a sentence.
Seriously. Who do you think takes it?
Obamacare, but really slightly, it's going to be tough.
And how come?
I just think
the weapons
that
thing, or
it's not just the weapons thing. I've been saying it from the beginning of the season. I like Jordan McKinnis as a quarterback, and I think he's just been getting better and better throughout the season. And I could care less about the stats. I see
you could Obamacare less about the stats,
right? It's but like I said, he's Kaepernick for me.
All right, you have LA. I have LA's Finest. You have Obamacare. We have different philosophies. If you're waxing on, I'm waxing off. They're playing against the Mean Machine this week. Daniel Goloff back to his usual self. Actually, Eagle brought up a different game, so we'll talk about that one first.
No, there's no game played.
Oh, no game. Sorry, there's no previous game played between these two, which always makes it an interesting matchup. One of the few games actually in Division E that hasn't been a rematch. Daniel Goloff back to his usual self. And wax on, wax off, using that experience to get to the second round. How do you think this game will go, and why?
Well, to start, I think that this also presents an interesting game as well. Like we just spoke about an excellent matchup, an elite matchup between LS Finest and Obamacare, but I think that this one might be the highlight. I think that this one is going to be a great matchup. I think that they're both very solid teams. I think that Wax on Wax Off presented themselves pretty well in the first round of the playoffs, something that we kind of didn't expect because they were kind of going on a downtrend towards the end of the season. But I think that in this situation, what we have essentially is two veteran quarterbacks, not veteran quarterbacks, but well, like they're very good quarterbacks. They know what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
but they also have they both have pretty strong offenses as well. But anyway, are we making picks or no? Or are we just talking?
Well, we're making picks because neither of us rate the article. So unlike Division 3, where I can't make picks because or else no one will read my article, we will actually do that on this show. Personally, I think Mean Machine will take it. I think Wax on Wax Off have a good defense, but it's somewhat predictable. I think there's spots to take advantage of. You know exactly what they're going to give you. They sort of challenge you by saying, "This is our defense. Come get us."
Yeah.
Because you know what they're going to do. So I think Daniel Golov's good enough to get by that. I think Wax on Wax Off hasn't really faced that many quarterbacks that can challenge them in that particular way. So in my opinion, I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be somewhat low scoring, but I think the Mean Machine will take it.
I think we're in disagreements here.
Disagreements?
Complete disagreements.
Not disagreement. Disagreements.
No,
Go ahead.
disagreements. Straight up disagreements. I don't think that. I think that this is. I think that having a guy like Danny Demore on your team, I think that having that kind of a player is enough. And we were talking about this a few weeks back as well. But I think that having an elite player, an elite playmaker in the playoffs, to me is important. And I see that as well with Mean Machine. But I think Danny Demore. I think if I was to put all the chips, I put it on his side.
That's fair. That's fair.
Is it? Is it really fair?
Absolutely. What's not fair is the beating that Terry Tam will take unless he heeds my warning right now about how to beat Flagrant Fouls. Last time they played, Flagrant Fouls beat them 31-18. Flagrant Fouls are a very athletic team. Ross Olszewski is an up-and-comer in this league. That being said, the game plan is simple. And I think that we executed it about as well as we could. But Terry Tam has a better grouping of personnel to use that kind of game plan. What you got to do is take the ball out of Ross Olszewski's hand. Keep your offense on the field. When they play cover 2, it's obvious. So take advantage. Hit up the middle of the field. When it's man-to-man, again, pretty obvious. That's when you'll need to use double moves, go to your more athletic receivers.
But how are you? But what I want to know is how were you able to take away from Marty Friedman? Like, I mean, to me, he is their player. He's their
on offense,
guy.
you mean?
Yeah, on offense.
On offense, basically, we had a guy spying the snapper, and that's all it was. We were jumping the snaps. We basically said, throw short. We're gonna drop 3 deep, and we're gonna cut off the snapper's routes and basically throw short to the sideline.
You don't feel like you feel like that game plan is not going to change.
I think that's how you have to beat them, and I think you need the personnel for that to work because it's not just having the game plan. You need the players to make that game plan work.
Go to a shootout.
Absolutely, you can't trade score for score.
No,
you need to control the pace. You need to put the pressure on a new sort of rookie quarterback in this league in Ross Olszewski. What do you think, however, is the trick to beating Wolfpack if you're Flagrant Fouls?
Oh, just complete aggressiveness. I think that by putting some bodies in front of some guys, kind of forcing them to make decisions, like to kind of take time away from the quarterback, allow aggressiveness. I think would really be the key in this kind of a matchup. I think you got to fight fire with fire sometimes in the playoffs.
That's fair. So your pick?
My pick in this situation, I'm going to go with Flagrant Fouls. I'm not totally convinced. I know what you're saying, but
You're not convinced that you know what I'm saying?
Wait. I'm not convinced in what you're saying, but I'm convinced in my opinion about this. Does that work?
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
You're saying?
No, what I'm saying is I'm gonna choose Flagrant Fouls with this. I think that they're just gonna have it's not gonna be close.
I'm gonna say Flagrant Fouls because Terry Tam doesn't listen to our show.
He doesn't.
So
he doesn't
his punishment is that I gave him the keys to success, and he's still gonna lose this game. So that's what I think is gonna happen. Last time, part of my swag played Beast Mode.
Right.
they scored 30 points. This week they were awarded 30 points by winning and forfeit. Of course, I'm sure you guys talked about it in the first segment.
It's poetic.
This week, part of my spike show up again. They will face off against Beast Mode in a rematch. How do you think this will go?
I understand that they were awarded a re-entry into the playoffs, and we were talking about this before. Once again, FPF, best league in the world for allowing re-entry into the playoff, because I don't think any other league would allow it. But in this situation, like I don't think that game is really symbolic of what they are. I think that they have the tools, they have the experience to propel them forward against Beast Mode. If this was going to be a different matchup, like I may choose differently, but I do have faith in Part of My Swag. I think that sometimes being allowed a second chance is enough to add motivation.
I think that Part of My Swag have shown that they've underperformed most of the season. I don't think a team could just hit a switch and be better in the postseason. In fact, what happens usually is that because you haven't built that chemistry yet, you just can't turn it on, and it gets amplified in the playoffs. So I don't think that this will be the game they lose, however, but I don't think they'll get much further than this game, but they will beat Beast Mode, I think, by about 7 points.
But both teams really have to bring their A game in this sense, because we're talking yes. Okay, the snappy fingers. Okay, whatever. They both got to be great.
All right, and who will win? That's all I wanted. You already did the analysis.
I hate this. Part of my swag. I hate choosing. But it's good.
Yeah, don't worry. Part of working for FPF is that you'll get enemies. So, that being said, we're about to close up the show. It is everyone's favorite time. It is when I will take a scientific concept, I will throw it to you, and then you'll have to define it. Of course, that will then become the actual definition for the word, and will go down in history as it will now be defined in that way. The word, of course, this week for Science Hour with Duke is acromatopsia.
Acromatopsia. You guys really are making it easy on me. Using words I absolutely have no idea.
That's the idea.
Okay, what's the background? Is it like medical science?
It is scientific because it is Science Hour with Duke.
It's not medical.
The definition for acromatopsia is
acromatopsia. All right.
Break it down. Break it into
acromatopsia. Acromatopsia. I have no idea what matopsia is, but acro I would think is like a spider. So it's spidermatosia. Spidermatosia. Matosia sounds bad. It sounds like a disease. So disease of having spiders in your body, because I heard that you eat spiders throughout your life.
At least 3 in your life.
Yeah.
So but it becomes a disease.
But I have no idea how bad they are. Whenever I see a spider, I think I'm gonna get a disease. So I think that acromatopsia, and just the act of having too many goddamn spiders in your stomach.
All right, absolutely. And that is, of course, the new definition for the word. Final thoughts, D's.
Okay. Listen, this week. Before going in, make sure that you get some sleep, because what I noticed this week is when you're not sleeping, you get nightmares, and nightmares before playoff games suck. And in this situation, I think that what's going to benefit everybody in this league is not get hammered the night before. So I know FPF sometimes doesn't seem like it's important, but you're getting there. So just make sure that you're not getting wasted before a game.
All right, that's very good advice. So basically, I like it. It's nice and simple. No spiders in your stomach. Don't get wasted the night before. Thank you, D's.
No problem.
I'm Peas.
You're welcome.
Thank you everyone for listening. This was Super Flag Bros.
Thank you, GM.
What did I say?
Thank you, GM, for filling in also. And Eagle. Just as a sign off real quick, John Laristis, I know you beat me. I know you got one of them beautiful comebacks, as I saw you run over and over again, and you still use it to beat us for like 20 catches. This is not a bowling shirt, but you are invited to play on my bowling team. So remember, invites in your mailbox.
It looks like you look like a Swedish porn star.
I am in fact a Swedish porn star. Thank you for listening to Super Flag Bros.
Yeah.